Hi everyone, this is Terry. I've created a design to talk to you about the sewing order pane. So this video will be all about the sewing order pane, but I'll talk about a couple of other topics as well that should be helpful to you if you're new to PE Design 11 or if you have used it and you really don't know all of the tools and how to get around on the screen. One of the first things I want to mention is that if I close this inadvertently, and let me do that, I can go to the View tab. And in the View tab, I can turn on the sewing order. You notice now that it's back in place. I've also turned off my stitch simulator. You can see that I've added that back to the bottom of the window. And I'll go ahead and turn that off again to give us some space to talk about today's video. You can also go in and deselect certain attributes that are over here on the window on the right, including the sewing attributes, text, color palette, and then also the import pane. So the import pane is now missing and I'll add it back. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the sewing order. One of the things you may find is if you click somewhere in the top of this window, it's going to move. And so it's no longer floating over here on the side. It's over here in the middle of the window, and that's not what I wanted. All I have to do is move it back over, and you can see that it's back over in this vicinity. And then if I want to have it dock in place, I can right click and choose docking. So you can choose to have it floating or docking. The next thing I want to do is talk about how to add the attribute settings to your toolbar. If you right click, you can go to Customize Quick Access Toolbar. Then you can choose from the popular commands. You can add your sewing attribute settings. Mine's already added. You can also add Stitch Simulator and any other commands. If you want to see those commands that are not in the ribbon, you can select the commands not in the ribbon, and you can go through this list and decide if there's anything else you want to add. When you have added something, let me go ahead and add the online instruction manual. Actually, I already have that, so I need to find something that I don't have in my ribbon. I don't have export file. I'll choose add. And if I want to move this up to another place on the ribbon, all I have to do is choose the arrow. And that way I can move it to a place that is more meaningful. So we'll move it all the way up near the top of the ribbon. And we'll move it down to right here, and we'll choose OK. So now you can see that the export file is appearing in my toolbar. The next thing I want to show you is if you click up here on this pointer, and it looks like a push pin. If you click on that, what it does is it makes your window a flyout window. And you might ask yourself, why do you want to do this? Well, if you were creating something very large where you're going to have multiple hooping and you want to have a larger design area, that's a good time to do that. When you hover over it, it flies out. And you can do the same thing over here on the right-hand side so that you can have flyouts for your panes on the right-hand side. In order to dock them again, click on the push pin, and we'll do that on the sewing order. And there we go. Now let's look at the icon over here on the left. On the sewing order, one of the things that you'll find is that there are icons across the top. If you want to select individual items, you can select them by taking your mouse button, holding it down. If I want to select home, I can click now and I've selected home. Likewise, if I wanted to select things that are not grouped, one of the things that I can do, we'll scroll down. Let's say that I want to select different parts of this design. I can hold down the Control key and select different objects so that those objects are selected. And now that I have selected those, you can see that there's like a running box around the window, and it looks like marching ants. Select the patterns, and what it did is it selected everything, which tells me that that design is grouped together. But that's how to select something that's not grouped. We'll click off. Now the next thing we'll look at is, let's say that we wanted to go in and look at these, and they're so small it's hard to see the parts. You can select to zoom. Now you can see the individual parts of the designs, and it has zoomed in on those portions over here in your sewing order. The other thing you can do while it's zoomed, you can show by color order. This is going to give you those items where you're using the color multiple times in your design. So you'll be able to see that. And there's one that I did color the same, which is the flower and the letter H. And you'll see that there's a plus key here. So if I click off of that, I can see that I have the plus key is actually looking in the design portion here that I recolored that's the same, and that's because this portion is grouped, and you'll see color 9-1 and 9-2. If I go back up here and I deselect showing by color order, now you see that what was 9-2 is now 10. So that's one way to see how multiple colors are used over and over again. The other things you can do is you can hide objects that are not stitched. You notice that there's a black box around the outside of this. What I did is I created an exterior box around this, and I have a no-sew line. Here it is right here. So if we go back up and we click Hide Objects Not Stitched, and we slide back down to the bottom, you no longer see it. To see it again, we'll go back and deselect that, and it's now in the sewing order window. Another thing you can do is, let's say that you want to hide something. You notice that there's an eye over here on the side. If you try to click on that eye, what happens is nothing happens over here in this portion of the window. So what you need to do is click on the eye here, and now, because that design is grouped, it's hidden everything in this box. So it's hidden, but it still appears, and you notice that the eye no longer appears over here on the left-hand side of the sewing order. To bring that design back, we'll show it again, and it's not hidden. Let's say that what we wanted to do is we wanted to protect a portion of the design, and what we want to do is protect home. So we'll select it, and all I did was draw a bounding box around it. I've chosen select the pattern, and I'll lock it. Now I cannot change this. So if I wanted to go in and try to change this design, you'll notice that I have the marching ants around it, and I cannot go in and make any changes to home until I unlock it. So we'll unlock it, and now that it's unlocked, I could actually go in, select it again, and I can make changes. For instance, if I wanted to select the letter O and to make it larger or smaller or move it up or move it down, I could do that, and we'll make it larger right now so you can see that I can change it. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and undo, and now we'll look at the next item. The next item that we have, let me click off of home by just clicking in the design page. The next item is about the sewing order. So you can move things up. So we'll select down here in the bottom, and I want to move that to the top of the sewing order. So I can choose to sew first. And now that's moved up into the sewing order. The other thing that you can do is you can click on an item, and we'll select the first item again by choosing select and selecting the first item. Give it a moment. And so now it is selected, and now what I want to do is I want to move that down. You'll notice there's a red bar. So if I decided I wanted to move it after home, I could do that. We'll go ahead and move it back up again by selecting it and choosing the selection arrow, and then we'll give it a moment. And now what I want to do is move that again in the sewing order to sew last. You could also choose sew next, but we'll look to see that it's moved down in the sewing order. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we'll select all of the design by choosing select all. And we'll select this button here, which is Optimize Sewing Order. When we do that, what I want to show you is that colors that are the same are now going to be appearing in the sewing order so that you will be able to stitch those near one another. And you'll notice that the word home is reordered. The M and this portion of the design are the same color, so they're stitching out close to one another so you don't have a thread change. You'll also see these two are close together. I think they were close together to begin with, but that way what it does is it reorders things that it can reorder so that you are optimizing your thread change. I'll choose undo, and we're back in the same order. Let's say that you have something that you want to recolor all at once. So I'll select home, and now I'll click the thread, and let's just change it to all gold. And when that happens, everything was recolored at once. I'll choose undo. The only thing that we haven't talked about right now is this little jump stitch trimming. In order to see that, you'll have to change your machine type. So we'll go to the design page and we'll change our machine to a multi-needle machine, and we'll choose the largest hoop, which I think is the 360 by 360, and OK. And now you see the scissors. And now that you see the scissors, if you wanted to select something, we'll select home. Now you can see jump stitch trimming. So it'll insert trimming for any jump stitches that occur, or it'll remove the jump stitch trimming. So we'll put that back again because you see the scissors. What the scissors are indicating is this is where trims are going to occur. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe to them. I monitor a group called Just Stitching with the Brother Luminaire. We have members in that group that do not own a Luminaire, that own a Dream Machine, or maybe they have a baby like Solaris or a Destiny, or they're wanting to buy a new machine. I also am a member of a group called PE Design 11, and I contribute to that group. So join us on those groups on Facebook and have a great day.